And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Monday, March 24th. I am Josh Engleman, here to break down slightly different slates. We got a 6-gamer, I believe, on the DraftKings side. Correct. We have an 8-gamer on the FanDuel side. FanDuel included the two 10 o'clock games. DraftKings did not. So pretty different slates today across DraftKings and FanDuel. Extra 2 games makes quite a bit of difference. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Glad to see you guys here today. So please, if you're here, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. That's where you get the contenders. You get top 10s on DraftKings and FanDuel. You get updates later on throughout the day, some short form videos as well. What's going on, everybody? It's good to be here. I'm ready to break this bad boy down. We got a lot to talk about. Some of it we can't really talk about. There are a couple spots that are going to be a little blind to us today, but I think that's okay. We'll deal with it. We'll figure it all out. But yeah, that's where we're at for right now. Ready to break down this 6-gamer on DK. But there's a lot of spots where we don't know who's playing. We don't know what the Q tags are going to look like. So we'll get there. Yeah, I can't believe, Giddy with the near quadruple double. It's a hell of a game. Not too bad. That's a ridiculous game. He's been playing really well since the deadline. Just kind of wild. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. We got a couple games to break down. So let's break those bad boys down right now, shall we? Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. We're getting into it right away. Game number 1, the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2-point underdogs in Indiana? Is that the line? Did I enter that correctly? I feel wrong on the first thing I'm saying. 2.5-point underdogs. All right. Well, probably has a little to do with the Q tag on Anthony Edwards, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But we do have to talk about this Minnesota team. They are going to be a little tricky, as I just mentioned. Anthony Edwards is questionable. That will make Minnesota look a little bit different. And you can see right away, not a ton of priorities if Anthony Edwards is in. Oop, I got to delete something quickly. 1 second. Bloop. There we go. So we got Ant in for about 35 minutes. It's 9,500. Shooting guard only. 10% optimal, 10% owned. Nobody got to proper 10% ownership for Minnesota. 9% to Naz Reid is the most of anybody. Ant is right there at 8. Ant, the only one that got to double digits in optimal at 11%. Now, the boom scores here are a little bit more interesting. I think you could take shots on DiVincenzo, Reid, Conley, Randall, Gobert, Ant. I don't really see the path to Jaden McDaniels right now, but I did get 3% of him. But only Randall and Ant got ranked. They're at the bottom half of the top 30. Ant ranking 21st. Randall ranking 30th. I got to around 10% of both of these guys. But I'm not sure I see any priorities here for Minnesota unless we lose Anthony Edwards. Because then you can get a lot more minutes to Nickeil Alexander-Walker and DiVincenzo, and then we create some value. But right now, like I think it's just filler. You get 5 to 10% of Ant. You get 5 to 10% of Randall, 5 to 10% of Naz Reid, 5% of DiVincenzo, 5% of Conley. They're like they look a lot like a 150 max team. Even in a good spot here against the Pacers. It's just a little meh. A little meh. Let's check the FanDuel side. Does this look any better on FanDuel than it does on DraftKings? No, it looks worse. Not a single player from Minnesota is in the top 30. Now, that's not all that surprising. Remember, there's 2 extra games, so it's that much harder to be in the top 10. Highest ranked guy is Ant, shooting guard, small forward, eligible on FanDuel, 9,300. He ranks 36th. He's 5% owned. He's 7% optimal. That seems about right. I don't see this as a spot where we're going to be going to all that much Minnesota unless we get Anthony Edwards out. If we get Anthony Edwards out, then we might have something here. But going to be tough. It's a tricky injury, Steven. Right thumb laceration. Like, it's obviously something that you feel like you could play through whatever, but if that's just cut in the wrong spot, it could just be a situation where, like, it has to be wrapped, then you don't shoot right. Like, it could just never stop bleeding, as weird as that sounds. So I don't know where the cut is. That's where we're at. That's where we're at for Minnesota. Let's see if we have any Minnesota bets available right now. We do have indie bets on Halliburton, so I might as well just touch on those right now. But I'm going to hit the Minnesota one first. Let me switch to just NBA just in case. All right, so we've got Jaden McDaniels, under 5.5 rebounds, 4 OddsShopper rating, 3.3% EV, plus 105. It's a really nice bet. It's out there on BetMGM. I'm going to hit these 2 indie bets since we're about to get to the Pacers. Halliburton, under 10.5 assists. It's the highest OddsShopper rating we have right now. 4.5% EV on BetMGM, minus 125. We also have a 4 OddsShopper rating, 3% EV, under 32.5 PRA on Tyrese Halliburton. Both of these are 7% historical ROIs. These are great bets. They're both out there on BetMGM. I would highly recommend grabbing both of these things immediately. Those are really good bets. Really good bets. That's what we have right now for Indy and Minnesota. We move to the Indy side of this one, and we're really just waiting on Benedict Mathurin, who is questionable, left ankle sprain. Otherwise, everybody's available. The only guy getting any real ownership on DraftKings is Tyrese Halliburton. He ranks 17th. He's 8,500, point guard only, 15% optimal, basically 15% owned, basically in 15% of my lineups. That's just where he belongs today. It looks really good. I need to change the color of this. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Ooh, I went one too far. Okay, so next, if you want to get to Pascal Siakam or Miles Turner, I think both of those things are completely fine. We're talking about Siakam being, ranked 38th, Turner ranked 35th. They're both between 5 and 10% owned. Completely reasonable 150 max guys. Makes sense to be in a like a 20 max. Ooh, that would be an interesting label, like labeling Siakam 1 to 3 20 max, labeling Turner 1 to 3 20 max. That's interesting labeling. Maybe I'll play with that. Neesmith, also fine at 5K, shooting guard, small forward eligible, but really, we're not talking about any major priorities outside of Tyrese Halliburton. And then on the FanDuel end, basically the same situation, just not as interesting. It's not Halliburton on FanDuel because he's way more expensive. The most interesting guy would be Nembhard, who ranks 25th. He's 12% owned, point guard, shooting guard eligible, 5,100. He's a 5X value guy. He would be the first guy you try to get to on the FanDuel end. Halliburton would be second. But again, there's not that much ownership here. 5% to Siakam, everybody lower than that. So not a lot here for Indy and Minnesota. We are going to be waiting on the Ant news for sure. That OddsShopper rating on Tyrese Halliburton got even better, by the way. 17 now, 6% EV minus 125. The assist prop is still there as well, but that has now moved to Onyx odds as the better option. The PRA play is still there. You can get under 9.5 at Onyx odds, 3.8% EV. You can get under 10.5 minus 125 at BetMGM. Solid Halliburton bets out there right now. But not a fun game, really. 10% owned in the aggregate. It's the second lowest owned game on the DraftKings side. Both teams are actually 40% owned, which is kind of weird. Exactly the same ownership on the dot. All right, let's go to game number 2. Now, this is the lowest owned game of the day. I don't get the sense that we're going to be talking about this one all that much, especially on the Lakers side, because we got LeBron back now. Rui is back, but he is questionable for this one. LeBron's probable. Luka's not on the list. Tony, I think McDaniels might be the worst play from Minnesota. All right. So for the Lakers, there's nothing here. There's not a single top 30 ranked guy. LeBron got to 5% ownership. He's 6% owned for me. He's 6% optimal in our tools. He ranks 34th. He's 10,300. Small forward, power forward eligible. I don't need much here out of LeBron. Obviously, massive pace down spot against Orlando. Good defense. This is not a great spot for the Lakers. And you're seeing that in everything. I mean, only LeBron and Luka have an optimal rate that isn't 0. Luka at 3, LeBron at 6. Obviously, you can play those two guys whenever you want, but not a lot. Not a lot. So they don't look good on DraftKings. They don't look good on FanDuel. 7% ownership to LeBron, 1% ownership to Luka. They're 6% optimal and 5% optimal, respectively. Reeves got to 1% optimal. I think the Lakers are the worst team on the slate. They are the least owned team. This is the least owned game. This is the lowest total by 4 points. It's the lowest pace by a possession and a half. I don't think you're going here. I don't think we're going here to the Lakers in any way. In terms of bets, we're not placing those either. We don't have a single available Lakers bet on OddsShopper right now. Lakers are easy to talk about in that we're not going to talk about them. They don't look good. So then we'll go to Orlando. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Cole Anthony is questionable, and we don't know his availability. The only two guys that are getting any sort of love for Orlando are Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. Franz is $1,000 cheaper, has an MPE. He's 14% optimal. He's 15% owned. He only showed up in 9% of my lineups, though. I actually got to a little bit more of Paolo. He's in 16% of my lineups, 12% owned, 10% optimal, 9,900. These are the only two guys. They're the only two guys that are more than 10% owned. They're both in the top 20 at 19th and 20th. And then nobody else is getting any love. 1% optimal to Wendell Carter Jr., 2% optimal to Cole Anthony if he plays and gets 23.5 minutes. So I could see a situation where you get to Cole Anthony if you get real minutes, but I don't know how you trust any bit of that. Orlando is just Paolo and just Franz on DraftKings. And it's the exact same scenario on FanDuel. It's just Paolo. It's just Franz. Franz way more owned on the FanDuel side than Paolo. Same positional eligibility, but Franz is $1,400 cheaper. Way more optimal, way bigger boom. Franz ranks 9th. Paolo ranks 20th. You're not really getting to anybody else here. It's only these two dudes. That's it. Nothing else. Now, Orlando bets, we don't have those either. 1.2% EV on Franz Wagner on DraftKings. Incremental bet, that's for sure, but nothing crazy. I mean, we only have 7 bets out there with more than a 1 OddsShopper rating right now. So, and half of those are Tyrese Halliburton. So yeah, very bad game for DFS purposes. So we continue on to a game that isn't. This is one of the 3 more owned games. Toronto, 1-point favorites in Washington, 228 total. Now, we're basically wasting our time talking about the Raptors. One, they're on a back-to-back. So we have no idea who's actually playing for Toronto. And it's already hard enough to figure out who's actually playing for Toronto when we even have their injury report. So yesterday, Quickly didn't play the front end of the back-to-back, nor did Jakob Poeltl. My expectation is that Quickly and Jakob Poeltl both play. Now, RJ Barrett did play the front end of the back-to-back, so I kind of feel like he's not going to play. And then after that, I don't really know for sure. Bruce Brown probably doesn't play the back-to-back. He hasn't. So this is live to look way different once we get the injury report. Obviously, Toronto gets the better side of this matchup by facing the Wizards. If Scotty Barnes plays, we have him in for 30 minutes. I don't know why I just said Bruce Brown, because I saw his name. I'll show you why I said it, Brandon. I appreciate that. So I have the minutes table pulled up for Toronto, and I was just scanning through guys with like injury designations. And when I got to Bruce Brown at the bottom and didn't see it, in my mind, it was just like, oh, he sat the front end. He's probably playing today. We'll get to him a little bit later. We got 2 games to go before we get to Bruce Brown sitting on a back-to-back, because that scenario is real. It's just not real for Toronto. So, like, if Jakob Poeltl plays, he's 5,800. He's center only. He played 28 minutes last time out. We have him in for 27. Jakob Poeltl is 40% owned if he's in today. Or at the very least, he's going to be popular. So we need to pay attention there. If Quickly is playing this second end of the back-to-back, he played 30 and 31 minutes in his last 2. We got him in for 28.5. He's 35% owned. He will look interesting. But it's hard to dig in much further here because we just don't know what's going to be available. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting quite a bit of value for Toronto, whether that's Jakob Poeltl, whether that's Quickly, whether those guys happen to not play again today, and then you're getting Mobo or Walter or Shed. Something's going to be here for Toronto. But right now, it feels like it's going to be their good guys in Poeltl and Quickly and Barnes. But this is very live to change. And it's basically the same situation on FanDuel. Barnes isn't as interesting. Poeltl isn't as interesting. Poeltl's 6,900 on FanDuel and 5,800 on DraftKings. So those 2 guys are very different. Quickly looks good on both sites. But again, we don't even know if he's playing. He didn't play yesterday. He could just as easily not play again today. So I don't want to spend too much time here on Toronto because we just don't know what's going to be available. We don't have any Toronto bets available, so there's nothing to dig into there. We just know that we're going to get ownership here. We just don't know who it's going to be yet. So make sure you're paying attention later today. This will be good for the deeper dive and good for live before lock, because a matchup against the Wizards is just really, really good. Now, speaking of the Wizards, we do have their injury report. Nobody is on it that we'd be surprised to see. No Brogdon, no Koulibaly, no Kispert. Otherwise, everybody else is available. We have about 10% ownership coming into Jordan Poole, Alex Sarr, Justin Champagnie, Chris Middleton, hell, AJ Johnson to a degree. None of these guys look amazing. They all look fine. I got 20% of Poole, 13 to Champagnie, 13 to Middleton, 5% of Marcus Smart, a couple shares of AJ Johnson. The guys that I'm not getting to, Bub Carrington at 5K. He's a 0.75 guy, doesn't look great. Keyshawn George, 5,800. He's a 0.85 guy, but these guys are sub 4.5 values. It's not for me. They rank in the 70s. But you got Poole ranked 15th. You've got Champagnie, Middleton, and Sarr 24, 26, and 28. So there's a lot of decent stuff for Washington on DraftKings. There's not a lot of like amazing stuff. And then on the FanDuel side, it's basically the same. Poole's getting a little bit of love. He's in the top 30. Sarr's getting a little bit of love. He's in the top 30. Justin Champagnie is ranked 18th. That's the top rank of anybody from Washington. Nobody else is getting more than 6% ownership. So it's just scattered filler from the Wizards today. Not a big stand, but a couple reasonable options. We've got a Keyshawn George 1% EV over 4.5 rebounds on Fanatics. That's the only Wizards bet that we have available on the Portfolio EV tool. Alrighty, guys. Making our way through this one. 3 games down so far. Let's talk MLB DFS. The baseball season is here, guys. And if you want to play MLB DFS, I think you guys should be doing that through us. The season starts on Thursday. If you guys want to sign up and get our MLB DFS package, you can use the promo code CYCLE. You will get the MLB DFS package that you choose, whether it's weekly or monthly. You'll get it for $1, one single dollar. No matter what day you sign up for this package, you'll get it for $1. That deal will end on April 3rd. So on April 3rd, your package will re-up for whatever you signed up for. If you got a week, you're going to re-up for the week at a normal price. If you got a month, you're going to re-up for a month at the normal price. But you'll get it for $1 all the way through April 3rd by using the promo code CYCLE. The link is in the description of this video. Click it to sign up. We've got projections. We've got ownership. We've got our top stacks tool, our top pitchers tool, our top batters tool, our entire simulation package, our single lineup sim, our single lineup, or our contest generator, our full simulation package, our post-contest sims, premium Discord. If you want to come in for baseball, guys, this is the way to do it. Come in for $1, promo code CYCLE. All right, we're going to Dallas now. They are on the road, 1.5 point dogs in Brooklyn. That is a 219 total. Now, Dallas is still quite shorthanded. They do not have a lot of bodies, so we need to be aware of that. As of right now, I believe that Dallas has 9 guys for today. Doesn't seem like they're going to have Kessler Edwards. It's possible that they have Anthony Davis. AD is currently listed as doubtful. Now, I don't expect him to play today, but he is working his way back. But we're not getting too much ownership for Dallas because these guys' prices are already up. We've got three guys ranked in the 20s. Klay Thompson ranks 22nd on FanDuel. He's 10% owned. PJ Washington ranks 29th on FanDuel. He's close to 20. And then Najee Marshall ranks 27th. He's 12% owned. On FanDuel, those are probably the only 3 guys I'm going to pay attention to. And they're all fine in that 10 to 20% range. Nothing interesting, just fine. I don't love the matchup against Brooklyn. If you look at this on the DraftKings side, you get nothing. Now, PJ Washington got to 10% ownership, but he's 8,200. If I'm going somewhere, I'm going there because I feel the best about him. But Najee Marshall's 7% owned. Spencer Dinwiddie's 3% owned. Nobody got to higher than 5% optimal. No one ranks in the top 30. I don't want to have much of Dallas, and you can see I only got 3% of the Dallas Mavericks. Whether that's 3% of Marshall, 3% of Washington, or 3% of Klay. I don't have anything more than that. Dallas does not look good here. Not at all. I really have next to no interest in Dallas. I don't see what the appeal would be. This is the second slowest game on the DraftKings slate, second lowest total. Dallas is the second lowest owned team. I don't really want anything here. These guys are too expensive. There's not a single good piece of value on this team. Now, Dallas bets. Nothing. PJ Washington, sub 1 OddsShopper rating. I am not going to recommend that right now, so we just don't have it. Now, the Brooklyn side, we do have a couple items that we need to touch on that could change this. D'Angelo Russell is questionable. Zaire Williams is questionable. That can create some value here for me. Because if D'Angelo Russell is in, he's point guard eligible, 5,800, 29% optimal, 30% owned, 31% of my lineups ranks in the top 10. Zaire Williams, if he's available, 4,600, shooting guard, small forward, 28 minutes, 10% optimal, about 10% owned. Looks solid. Nick Claxton, 29.5 minutes, 5,700, 5.7x value. He's 15% optimal, 17% owned, and 17% of my lineups ranks 14th. We got 3 guys from Brooklyn in the top 23. They all look relatively good. They're all in more than 10% of my lineups. And then I think you're fine to take a shot on a $4,200 Day'Ron Sharpe here today. Center only. I like the matchup, obviously. He kind of just plays whatever minutes Nick Claxton doesn't play. We don't have a ton of value just yet, and it's only a 6-game slate for DraftKings. So I think you can take some shots on Day'Ron Sharpe if you play 150. But the focus will be Russell, Williams, and Claxton. However, Russell and Williams, both questionable today. So this could look a little different as we get there. Free up some more playing time for some of these random Nets guys that no one cares about. Now, on the FanDuel end for Brooklyn, we are getting a little bit of love to Nick Claxton. I don't think that's crazy. 5,800, 20% owned, 16% optimal, ranks 12th. You're absolutely getting a bunch of Claxton today. Somewhere in that 15 to 20% range makes a ton of sense. Russell would be the only other guy that you're going to pay attention to a lot for Brooklyn. But again, Q tag, 10% owned, 10% optimal. Keep your eye on Brooklyn. We need their news. Those are 2 pretty big Q tags. Brooklyn bets, nothing. Nothing out there on the Brooklyn side. We are moving through this slate pretty good here. We're halfway done. We're 2/3 done, the DraftKings slate. So let's go to Philly. Let's keep it moving because there's just some things we can't talk about today. For Philly, we largely can, although this entire game is a back-to-back. Philly's on a back-to-back. Pels are on a back-to-back. So we don't technically know who's playing for Philadelphia today. One thing I want to add right now, O'Shea Brissett is not under contract any longer for the Sixers. Now, it is completely possible that they sign him to another 10-day contract and he's just back by the time we get to lock today. He also got a little dinged up yesterday, so we'll see. But he is not technically under contract. So the 2 guys that we're going to pay closest attention to for Philly today are going to be Quentin Grimes and Justin Edwards. Edwards ranks 11th. He's 22% optimal, 25% owned. He's 5K, small forward, power forward eligible, just playing big minutes. Not the best per minute guy in the world, but his minutes seem pretty firm at this point. And then Grimes, point guard, shooting guard eligible, 9K. He ranks 16th. He's 18% optimal. He's 20% owned. I got to 15% of him. Happy to get to a decent chunk of Grimes. Do I like this price for him? Absolutely not. But this is a 6-game slate. It's very different. It's very different. The slate matters. That's what dictates ownership. So while I don't love Quentin Grimes, he's a 4.8x value. You know, you're looking for 55 fantasy points out of him or something in that neighborhood. Still ranks 16th. After that, we got to figure out if Yabu's playing. We got to figure out what they're doing at point guard. But there's not a ton of ownership coming into the rest of these guys. Nobody else more than 3% ownership. But we need their news. We got to figure out if they're signing O'Shea Brissett to another 10-day or signing a different player. And we got to find out if anybody's out on this back-to-back. FanDuel slightly different. You're still going to Grimes on the FanDuel side at 8,700. He ranks 14th. But Edwards is not interesting on FanDuel. It's the point guards that you want to get to, whether that's Jared Butler or Jeff Doughton. Butler's 10% owned. Doughton's 30% owned. They both showed up at 20% optimal. So we're going to need to see how this fleshes out. But you're paying attention to both of those point guards on the FanDuel side. And then Grimes on both sites. Everybody on DraftKings and FanDuel are ranked 11th through 20th if they're recommended here for Philly. Otherwise, they're not on there at all. Do we have any Sixers bets? We do not. So nothing there. But yeah, we're going to Grimes today. Not that I want to, but we are going to Grimes today. Remember, if I'm willing to say that we're getting to Grimes, then we're getting to Grimes. Why did this shift itself? That is so weird. All right, there we go. Bizarre. All right, so that's Philly. Like it or not, Grimes was in last night's top lineup. I mean, I don't know what the slate was, but is that real? Because he didn't score well. He had to be terrible, no? I don't care if he was in a winning lineup. He doesn't appear to have been a very good play yesterday. Let's find out. I assume that was the main. Yeah, negative 19.9% sim ROI, negative 50% actual ROI. He was 24% owned. Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately, Quentin Grimes yesterday was a bad play. So he was not in last night's top lineup. That is not a true statement. But, you know, we can just say whatever we want. People will believe it, but he 100% wasn't. Not even close, if we're being honest. So, yeah, I don't know why we are even saying that. Let's go to the Pels. Now, this is going to be basically impossible to talk about, so I'm not even going to bother. We just want to talk about what is actually going on with New Orleans. So they are on a back-to-back. Zion hasn't played the last two games. Yves Missi didn't play yesterday. CJ McCollum hasn't played their last two back-to-backs. Bruce Brown hasn't played back-to-backs. We have no idea who's available for the Pels today. Zion, Yves Missi, and Jose Alvarado are all in the top 6 if they're all playing. But I don't even want to dip into the Pelicans right now. Hendu, I don't know what you're trying to justify here, but whatever you think about Quentin Grimes yesterday isn't correct. Other than, yes, he was in a 337-point lineup. I don't know why we care about that, but Quentin Grimes was a bad play yesterday at his ownership. Anyway, we need this Pelicans news. We are live to get a ton of ownership here. There's 40 to Alvarado right now, 50 to Zion, 20 more to Missi, 15 more to Hawkins. We're getting a little bit of love to Kelly Olynyk. We just don't know who's here. We don't know who's available. Hendu, the only thing you said was, like it or not, Grimes was in last night's top lineup. 100% wasn't. So, I don't know what your goal is here, brother. Go with oops, my bad, and we'll move on. Alvarado's going to look awesome if CJ is out. Zion's going to look awesome if CJ is out. Misi's going to look really good if he's in. But we know nothing. It's a back-to-back with multiple guys that typically sit on back-to-backs. He was in the top lineup. He was not in the top lineup. Right there. Doughton, Champagny, Edwards, Wiggins, Horford, Young, Kamara, Tatum. None of those names are Grimes. So yeah, pay attention to the Pels. And look, same situation on the FanDuel side. Alvarado ranks 1, Zion ranks 2, Misi still looks good, Hawkins is getting love. We're going to end up with a lot of the Pelicans, but we have no idea who those Pelicans are going to be just yet. And we don't have Pelicans bets either. The final game of the DraftKings slate, the Chicago Bulls 4-point dogs in Denver, 238 total. Now, Bulls, still no Lonzo. However, we do have some interest in the Chicago Bulls team because doesn't seem like we're going to be having Nikola Jokic today. So we've got 10% ownership coming into Kobe White. We've got 10% ownership coming into Vooch. We've got about 10% ownership coming into Josh Giddey. And then we've got 25% ownership coming into Kevin Huerter. I like the 3 guys that are getting some love. I'm not as interested in Kobe White at 8K, but he's fine in the 5 to 10% range. I think the easiest guy to get to here is Kevin Huerter. Shooting guard, small forward eligible, 5,700. He's a 5.2x value. Highest optimal on Chicago at 19%. He's owned 24%. It's great positionality. It's a later game. He ranks 13th. Should be playing big minutes as he has been. So I like Huerter the most. Vooch and Giddey are kind of like a coin flip because Giddey is point guard, small forward, but he's 9,100. They have essentially the same optimal rate, same ownership to a degree. Now, Vooch looks good as well at 7,600, but he's center only, so that does complicate matters a little bit. Vooch ranks 22nd. Giddey ranks 25th. I'm a little over the field on both guys. Those 3 dudes look really good. 9,100 for Giddey is quite the price tag, but he does fill up the stat sheet, which helps. And then, look, Kobe White's fine. I probably don't want to get to too much of, like, Buzelis or Patrick Williams. I'm going to rank it Huerter, Vooch, Giddey, White on the DraftKings side. On the FanDuel end, these guys don't look even remotely close to the same. Huerter is still awesome on both sites. He ranks 15th on FanDuel. He's 5,800. Shooting guard, small forward eligible. 19% optimal. 23% owned. Huerter is the guy across both sites. We got about 10% ownership coming into Josh Giddey on the FanDuel end. Point guard, shooting guard eligible here. 9K. Not nearly as interesting on FanDuel as he is on DraftKings, but he does rank 31st. So he's knocking on the door of the top 30. You're not going to Vooch here with any sort of volume. You're not going to Kobe White here with any volume. The main focus, I think, across both sites is going to be Huerter and Giddey, but Huerter is the number 1 option for the Bulls. We do have a 1.8% EV under 8.5% assists for Josh Giddey. Did that go away already? No, it's still there. 12% historical ROI. This is going to be on Fliff, but under 8.5 assists for Giddey is out there. That is the only Chicago Bulls bet that we have to recommend right now. Let's talk schedule quickly for the rest of the show before we hit the rest of these things. So for today, obviously we have this show. We've got the deeper dive at 5 p.m. Myself and Spags. We'll have all of our updated injury report news, so you're not going to want to miss that. Greg and Eric will be on live before lock from 6 to 7. And then Greg and I will be live on playback from 7 till 8. We've got 3 games at 7, a 7:30 start, and an 8:30 start. You're not going to want to miss playback. We are going to be breaking down a ton of late swap news, a ton of injury news, everything that's popping up for you guys. We are going to be live on playback, watching the games and breaking it down. So make sure you're hanging out with us on playback. That's playback.tv/Stokastic. Totally free to come and watch the games with us. If you have League Pass, you can link it. If you don't, we have VIP passes. Worst case scenario, it's just Greg and I. Now, the Denver side. Technically speaking, we don't have an injury report for the Denver Nuggets. However, if we assume that Nikola Jokic is once again out, even if everybody else is in, this is going to be a very popular team. And we could get somebody else out on the back-to-back. We don't know the status of Aaron Gordon or Jamal Murray. We got 38 minutes out of DeAndre Jordan yesterday, fresh out of never playing ever. Denver picks up the win. DeAndre Jordan played almost the entire fourth quarter. He played basically the entire second half, save for 3 minutes. He got tons of playing time. Now, I didn't give him anything near that. We got him in for 26 minutes right now. He is still the flat 3K. He's 60% owned. He's the number 1 play of the day. As long as DeAndre Jordan is marked as the starter for Denver, he will be either the most popular guy on the slate or like the second most popular guy on the slate. I have no idea how you get away from that if he's the starter. Now, it's possible he plays 0 minutes and isn't the starter at all. I have no idea. It's a back-to-back. We don't know anything about today for Denver. But if he is the starter, he's going to be a big-time priority. We also have Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Christian Braun all in the top 10. Aaron Gordon ranking 3rd, 40% owned. Amazing matchup against the Bulls, 240-ish total. Jamal Murray ranks 7th. He's 20% owned. I have 2x Gordon, 2x Murray, 2x Brown, 2x Porter. I have 75% of DeAndre Jordan. Gordon looks great. Murray looks great. Brown looks great. Porter looks great. I want all these dudes. Heavy exposure to Denver if it looks like this. But we don't know if it's going to look like this. We don't know if he's going to start. And that is going to be a very complicating factor for this slate, because this game locks at 9 on its own. So we're going to have a lot of information. We don't know what this will look like, but hopefully on the deeper dive and live before lock, we have a better idea of what's going to happen here. Because if DeAndre Jordan doesn't start, I think he's very live to not play at all. At which point, you're still feeling great about Gordon. We don't know if anybody else is out. Maybe you feel a little bit better about Peyton Watson or Zeke Naji at that point. But yeah, it may be a DeAndre Jordan day today, or it may not. We anxiously await that news. FanDuel side, he's 3,600. You're going there if he's the starter. You're going Aaron Gordon. You're going to Murray. You're going to Brown. You're going to Porter. 5 guys from Denver in the top 10 on FanDuel. We need their injury report. I don't even want to say anything else because it's too hard to even try to guess what we're going to be doing here. So for Denver, no bets right now. Christian Braun at 0.9. Oh, it's going to be a thing, guys. It's going to be a thing. All right, we're going to move it on to the final 2 games of the day. These are both FanDuel only. They are not on the DraftKings main slate. The first one up is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, 3-point underdogs in Phoenix, 225 total. No Damian Lillard for this one, and that is creating quite a bit of ownership, but maybe not the way you expected. Giannis is obviously getting a bunch. He's 37% owned. He ranks 8th, 12,100. I don't think it's going to be all that surprising to hear that Giannis looks good against Phoenix with no Dame. So I'm going to spend no time talking about that because you guys get it. Ryan Rollins is expected to start in place of Dame. He did last time. However, KPJ got more of the point guard rotational minutes, ended up closing. That's how we have it here. 22 to Rollins, 26 to KPJ. That makes KPJ be the number 4 ranked guy. 4,800, point guard, shooting guard eligible, 5.9x value, 1.1 fantasy points per minute, 49% optimal, 45% owned. KPJ is actually a better play than Giannis is, but nobody else ranks well. I don't have a ton of interest in Ryan Rollins. He ranks 59th. I'm good on Brook Lopez or Kuzma. Gary Trent's a little interesting. Shooting guard, small forward eligible, 4,100. Terrible per minute guy, but 5% optimal, 10% owned. But ultimately, the takeaway here for Milwaukee is play a lot of Giannis and play a lot of Kevin Porter Jr. We don't have any Milwaukee bets available right now, unfortunately. So we're going to walk away from that, and we're going to go to Phoenix. And Phoenix is not a very interesting team. Bradley Beal is out. Mason Plumlee probable. Nick Richards probable. There's no ownership coming into the Suns, though. 7% to Booker is the most of anybody. 3% to Durant. 2% to Colin Gillespie. The highest ranked guy is Devin Booker. He ranks 41st. I would not recommend much of anything from Phoenix other than your 2 main dudes. And then final game, Boston and Sacramento. Boston on a back-to-back. We do not know their status. Not expecting Jaylen Brown to play in this one. Not expecting Al Horford to play in this one. 20-something% ownership coming into Jason Tatum and Derek White in that scenario. Tatum ranking 11th, Derek White ranking 19th. A little bit of love to Peyton Pritchard, who's been playing 30 minutes a night as well. But this is a spot where we need the injury report. We'll get this at either 2:30 or 3:30. Depending on who's in, we kind of know who we play. But this is Boston. Like, you're going to get a couple guys out. You're going to play the main guys that are left. We just got to find out who those guys are. But right now, it looks like it's going to be Tatum and White as the main guys you want from Boston. We do have under 3.5 threes made on BetMGM, 2 OddsShopper rating, 2.3% EV, plus 115 on Derek White, close to a 7% historical ROI. That's a really nice bet. So if you want to bet anything on the Boston side, Derek White under 3.5 threes made is the line. You could also take under 17.5 points on DraftKings for a 1.4% EV. The final team we're going to talk about, Sacramento, and we're not going to talk about them all that much. We do have some injury news that could change that. Devin Carter questionable, Malik Monk questionable, Domantas Sabonis questionable. If they're all in, you're probably not playing much of Sacramento. Prices are increased a little bit with Sabonis having been out for a while. It's 5% ownership to Levine, 5% ownership to DeRozan. Both he and Levine and Monk are all around 5% optimal. And that's what I see here. But if Monk is out and Sabonis is out and Devin Carter's out, then yeah, we're probably going to look at Keon Ellis and Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and Jake LaRavia potentially. So we could have something here for Sacramento, but we're going to need that injury news because 3 separate Q tags makes a pretty big difference. So that's what we've got going on FanDuel. That means we've just finished 8 games. That is 8 games up, 8 games down, and now we are here to build a lineup. So the czar of the lineup builder is here. Please hit the like button. We're going to build one on DraftKings, and we're going to build one on FanDuel. Kings thought Monk could be De'Aaron Fox. I think Monk might be better than De'Aaron Fox, and they got Zach LaVine in the deal. That's a great trade for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox might be one of the most overrated players in the league. But I don't care about De'Aaron Fox. I care about building the lineup. And we are going to start that off with Jonathan Mobo, I think we're going to go to Jordan Hawkins. I'm going to grab Yves Missi. I'm going to try to make it without DeAndre Jordan right now. We'll see how that works out. I kind of want to grab Jeremiah Robinson Earl, but that might be a bit of an issue. Let's get MPJ. I'm going to get Jared Butler. I got a lot of salary I could spend. I mean, surely I'm going to end up on Giannis, right? Oh, he's not on the slate. Totally forgot. Not on the slate. Who the hell are the pay-ups? So we got Luka and LeBron. Neither one of them looking like a great pay-up. Paolo and... Wow, the pay-up options really stink on this slate. What if I get Ant, Franz, and then a $6,100 utility, which at that point is D'Angelo Russell? I'm not confident in this. I gave up a lot of ownership. I'm not confident this is a great lineup. I might have to eat a lot more ownership. I might be... Oh, all right. It's a great lineup. 72.5. Beep, boop, beep. I'm amazing. Nailed another one. And I think I can make this one way better, too. Beep, boop, beep. Nailed it. Nailed it. 72.5. Damn. Let's see if we can beat it on FanDuel. Jellybean, you were close. All right, let's see how we do on FanDuel. Can we beat the DraftKings score on the FanDuel side? So we're going to start with Jared Butler once again. We're going to get Jonathan Mobo in at power forward. This is feeling familiar. I'm going to get Kelly Olynyk at power forward as well. I'm going to get Christian Brown in at shooting guard. I'm going to get MPJ in at small forward. And now we could go through position by position because we need a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, and a center. We got a lot of salary left to spend. Alvarado feels like too much of a spend for the ownership, but I would definitely take Alvarado before I took KPJ. Kind of feels like I should take Jamal Murray, but I already have Brown and Porter, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get Giddey. And then at shooting guard, I'm going to get Jordan Hawkins. Now I need to start spending some salary. So we're going to get Franz, and then I can get a good center, which I actually think is going to be Sar. And I have 5,200 left over to upgrade in spots here, which is going to be very, very easy to do. The first spot we need to upgrade is going to be... I guess Jordan Hawkins is the first one to go. Yeah, we could definitely upgrade Jordan Hawkins. Man, I want to go to Murray, but I don't want 3 Nuggets. I'm going to go to Murray just because I have so much salary. So that's 3 Nuggets. I still have 1,600 to upgrade with. Can I get a better version of Jared Butler at good ownership? I don't think I can. It's probably Mobo, but like his value is just so good. But if I upgrade from Mobo, I guess I could take Justin Edwards. Let's see how we did. Did I beat the DraftKings lineup? I kind of feel like we did. Give me... Nah, I'm going to say we didn't. 66.2. Never mind, I'm dumb. I'm so damn good at this. It's insane. I don't even trust myself sometimes. Guys, what are we talking about here? Does it get any better than this? 184. 184. I tell you guys I'm the czar. I don't say it to brag. It's just because it's true, man. I build the nuts. 184. Come on, man. The czar is here, and he's incredible at his job. I have no reason to try to build another one of these bad boys. Why would I? I nailed this. It doesn't get any better. Part of me wants to try to rebuild the DraftKings one. 184. That's the best I've ever built. And I don't mean just like for like slate dependent. This looks amazing. So, DraftKings lineup built, good. FanDuel lineup built, as good as it gets. 6-game DraftKings slate, 8-game FanDuel slate. Tons to talk about. I'm going to record contenders after this. I'll also drop the top 5 onto Twitter. The top 10s are already out if you guys want to go check it. You guys can go see those graphics on my Twitter account. But, man, that looks good. That looks good. Don't forget, MLB DFS. The promo code is Cycle. Any package you choose for $1 through April 3rd. It's $1 till April 3rd. It will re-up on April 3rd for whichever package you choose. So if you choose a weekly package, you'll re-up for a weekly package. If you choose a monthly package, you'll re-up for a monthly package. But it will be $1 until April 3rd with the promo code Cycle. It's a great start to the week, boys and girls. Another great one in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was fun. Deeper dive at 5, live before lock at 6, live after lock on playback at 7. It's going to be a hell of a slate, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys a ton. Hit the like button on your way out the door. I'll talk to you guys later. Hey, tell Aton I said hi.